Good morning and welcome to Coach's Corner. Coach Moore, we had one heck of a scrimmage the other day.
Yeah, it was good. The turnout was really good. There were a lot of fans here at 4:30 in the afternoon. We did a little bit earlier than expected, but yeah, the kids were excited about getting in front of people, and I thought the whole organization of it, the operation of it, was really good. I mean, people running on and off the field. We ran 64 plays in less than an hour. With kicking game included, so that was good. I thought we got it done quickly, stayed healthy. That was the number one priority, and we got a good look at. We were a lot of 2 versus 1 type deal. We didn't do any good versus good, but we got some guys that we think can play, and we put those kids in against our starters, and saw some real bright spots. So we're excited about the scrimmage.
When you look at this team, we talked about the last time that we were together, about the number. How many are we setting at right now as far as numbers go?
Yeah, we have 79 total, and 24 of them are seniors. So our senior class is really big, and that number 79. What I'm so excited about is all those guys are really committed. You know, I expect it to stay close to that number. I don't see us losing kids through the season because all 79 of them were here all summer. You know, again, 4 days a week at 6 a.m., and that's a really big deal. So yeah, I think that we'll keep those numbers. That's really good. That includes freshmen, and our freshman team has 23 kids on it. So that's good, but they practice with the varsity, and then, of course, they'll break away and play their own season on their own schedule. And then we have a JV group as well, made up of just, maybe our second-string guys for the varsity and that kind of deal.
The games, and I don't have them right in front of me, but I know there's posted schedules for all the different divisions for the school.
Right.
From Admiral Moore on up.
Sure, yeah, the 4 different schedules. Yeah, we play 7th and 8th grade play together. They competed in a jamboree at Beauregard High School this past weekend and beat Auburn pretty bad, and played Russell County and played well in that game. And so that was good. Really exciting. Coach Black and his staff, Coach Deveridge, Coach Clyde, and Coach Dove, they all do a really good job. Yeah, we'll have a 9th grade schedule. It has 4 games scheduled now. We're kind of late getting into scheduling, but we're able to find 4. And then the JV team has 5. And sometimes when we don't have a freshman game on the same night as the JV game, the freshmen will play up. So they're going to play close to 8 games. So that's exciting, that part, that we're going to have kids playing because, today the kids have so many choices and things that they can do besides play football that we got to let them play in games. I mean, that's the exciting part of it. And everybody needs to be playing an opponent every year. And so that's how you, in my opinion, how you build a program is bringing those guys up, playing every year where they don't have to sit on the sideline for a full year and not compete.
Well, my first question is, what exactly, against Russell County, what positions in particular are you really looking closely at? Maybe most concerned or?
Well, we were able to go see them. Friday night we went and scouted Russell County, and that gave us a good idea. First off, they do a really good job. Coach Wiggins is a good football coach, and he's doing a great job there. They're extremely athletic, as usual. And for some reason, and I remember this all the way back from the Opelika days with Russell County, is they always have a big receiver, and they've got a number 1 that is a receiver for them that is really really talented, and he caught a deep ball, matter of fact, against Dadeville for a touchdown. So they've got some players. They got a good running back, and their quarterback throws it really well. So they're going to be pretty good.
How about your team? Well, any positions that you're really
as far as us, I mean, battles that we have, our center position continues to be a battle, which is not, I would prefer not to have that issue, to have something nailed down at center. But right now, Callan Yates and Chris Glover are battling that out to be the starting center. Probably you'll see both of them. Which again, I've never been a real big fan of like playing 2 quarterbacks and playing 2 centers and that kind of deal. I like to have some consistency at that position. But right now, both those guys deserve to have an opportunity to play in a game. So those 2 guys will be there as far as a position battle. The other 4 spots on the offensive line are pretty nailed down. On the defensive line, we have a little position battle with Katie Hill and Greg Ledbetter. Those guys are kind of battling it out for a defensive end spot. And then Breon Austin and Quinn Kelly are battling it out for a nose guard position for us. But the good thing is that all those guys are going to play. I mean, on the D line, you want to play, 8, 10 guys if you can. And we have about 7 right now that are at the standard to play. So that's a good thing. That's a good problem to have. Because to me, it's not so important about who's starting the game anyway. I mean, it's more about obviously finishing. But at the same time, all our guys, we're going to roll a bunch of kids in and try and stay fresh. Other positions, we added really, in my opinion, a 4th running back over the scrimmage. We had a 9th grader that really, Joe Green is going to be. He's going to be special. He's a freshman that played against our starters. Had a big run, about a 30-yard run against our starting defense as a freshman. So that was really exciting. But we're going to be those guys will roll in and out there too. We're going to have to do a great job as coaches of finding ways to get all those guys the ball. And then we've got a position battle, a small one at our what we call our weak safety. Monquez McCray and Quentin Kelly. They're kind of battling that out. Everywhere else, we feel pretty good. We feel like it's nailed down. But I tell you, going into week 1, we would like to have all of them nailed down. But the competition that we have here gives us the ability to play different guys. And what that does is it keeps people hungry and pushing, and they don't settle into practice because they know that the next guy can get in there and play. And so that's made our football team better, the level of competition. Because again, we always say that we don't have starters, we have standards, and if they get to the standard, Coach Blackman always used to say at Opelika, and I love that, the standard of where we need to be, and if they're at the standard, we're going to play. Like last night, we met all day yesterday as a staff, and I just asked the coaches. I said, I'm big on personnel. Like that's where my focus is who can play and who needs what, and if we're kind of thin at a position, I need to get you somebody over there. But they feel good about where we are, and we've got a lot of kids that we think can help us, that can play at a 5A level and be really competitive. So that's exciting. We don't have a ton of position battles, but you will see a lot of fresh bodies in the game. I mean, we're going to play them all, especially, a non-region game like Russell County. We want to see, what kids can do because, yes, of course, we want to win the game and we want to play well. But what we really want is to see how many kids can play right now and how many can help us in region games when you start getting into some real competition in our region, which is what's really important to us.
Looking at Russell County, let's have a 2-part question. You'll see where I'm coming from. Let's look at our offense against their defense and vice versa.
Yeah, they're an odd front team, which means they have 3 defensive linemen. They got a big nose guard, and then they play 2 defensive ends, and they have 2 outside linebackers, 2 inside, and then 4 DBs. So basically, our defense is different than that up front. And so we play 4 defensive linemen, they play 3. That changes some of the things we do, but we've worked against it all summer. Fortunately, when we went to Enterprise over the summer, they played that same look. They gave us the same idea, which helped us get ahead. We have a lot of quality film on what to expect. And then just knowing, just working through our rules all fall camp about how to block that front has been very helpful. From an offensive standpoint, we got to be ready for their scheme. It's a little bit different. Another kind of small difference is they play a 1-high safety look, which is for us a big deal because our team bases out of a 2-high look. So in our run game and passing game, so there's some things that we're adjusting to, and that's kind of where we spent our time yesterday working through that. And then they bring a lot of pressure. They're going to blitz, and they're going to try to get to us, and so we're going to have to be ready up front to pick that up. Our running backs are going to have to handle that. Coach Clements was on that yesterday. He put in all the blitzes and the things that we expect them to do, and how we're going to pick that up with his backs. And so we're going to spend a lot of time on that, blocking that front. From a defensive standpoint, the biggest issue, and I kind of talked with Kyle about it, was that receiver is he's a big deal. That kid's I don't know, I haven't really looked him up as far as if he's got college offers or what, but he's about 6 feet tall, and he can really run, and he got behind Dable's secondary several times in the game, and he is a true weapon out there. And then they've got a running back that's shifty, good player, physical kid. He scored a couple times the other night. And then their quarterback, I knew that in the paper they had a big 3 or 4 way battle of quarterback. They had several kids that might play, but I think they picked the right one. I mean, number 4 is their quarterback. He's really he's talented and throws it well. So again, they're very athletic on offense. Defensively, same thing. They've got some defensive backs that can really run. And again, they're doing a better job of coaching those guys than I've seen in a long time. Coach Wiggins is really doing a good job. And then from the special teams aspect, their kicker is much better. You know, they've got a kid that's handling kicking and punting duties and doing a really good job. So we, you know, as far as our matchups, you know, we're still focused on Eufaula. You know, we're still worried about ourselves, but they have some things that we're going to have to accommodate, and some kids that can really do some things for them, and some guys that scare you. And again, number 1 is the main guy that worries me. But they do a good job of getting him matched up and giving him a chance to make big plays. So again, I like our matchups, and I'm okay with a lot of things. But again, number 1's an issue. The back's really good, and the quarterback's a good player too.
When you look at this team versus the film that you got from the spring, and now you've scouted them, is there a big bunch of difference in Russell County over that period?
Well, I hadn't seen them in the spring,
Okay.
But I understand the scheme has been the same for the last couple of years. We have reviewed a lot of the old film from last year, and the scheme is pretty similar. I mean, they're not doing a bunch of different stuff. They're playing a little bit more with a tight end and a fullback than they did last year. Last year they were 4 wideouts, and but from that standpoint, I haven't seen a bunch of difference. So they're just getting good at what they do. And another thing that's going to be beneficial and advantage for them is they've got a game under their belt. I mean, they played and we didn't. And so that worries me a little bit. That, you know, they always say that you make your biggest improvement from week 1 to 2. And they'll be better than they were against Dable. And I thought they were really competitive against a good football team from Dable. So, you know, they'll come here ready to play. They're doing a good job with their program.
I noticed that when we played the spring game, the guys came bouncing out. They were ready to play football. Is this team still ready to play football?
Yeah, I mean, the scrimmage, they were excited about the scrimmage, but it's still a scrimmage. You know, there's not an opponent. And so for some of them, I won't say struggle or were flat in the scrimmage. You'll see more in the game. The game just, you know, obviously there were people here, and I was excited about the turnout from the scrimmage, but you'll see, you know, hopefully 4,000 or 5,000 that'll be here Friday night. And when that happens, you know, that's when you sort of, you know, really get the momentum going and the energy. But at the same time, you know, we have to be real careful here of not overdoing it with our energy. Especially from an offensive standpoint, you got to stay calm and collected. I mean, you can't go out there and go crazy and, you know, want to headbutt lockers and that. And you can't do all that stuff. You got to stay under control. Defensively, obviously, you can be a little bit more emotional. But what we found in practice is when they, you know, it's kind of like a feeding frenzy for our defense. When they make a couple of plays, they start really rocking, and that's great. But what they've got to do is settle down a little bit and go through what they're supposed to be doing pre-snap and what their assignments are and responsibilities. And we can't just go crazy, you know, and because there are people in the crowd and a new team over there, and have a big bust in the secondary, or, you know, blow an assignment or not get a call from the sideline of what we're supposed to do. So we've had to really work through that a good bit. We've had to be cautious about, you know, how. I want them to play with energy. You know, obviously, I want them to be excited. I want them to get out there and feel that. But at the same time, you got to be able to handle yourself mentally and not lose it. And so we're working through that. We got a couple of kids that we had some mistakes in the scrimmage that we hadn't made in practice, because practice is so much more calm. Again, with people not being in there, I always talk about that, but you know, that can't be overstated. I mean, how many people that come to these games and are there is a huge deal for a 16-year-old. That is a really big deal. I mean, people have to put themselves in their shoes. They're performing what they feel like is a spotlight only on them in front of 5,000 people. and I remember going through that as a player, and it's difficult to manage your emotions and be able to think, because sometimes, and we do it as coaches too. There's pressure for us, and we have to think and we have to be able to handle ourselves in that environment, and that's very difficult. The pressure, you can feel it when you're out there. And so hopefully we'll settle in. I hope they're excited. I know they will be. But the task for us this week is going to have to be staying focused, because it's finally game week. I've been here 4 months. Right around 4 months. And finally we're going to play another opponent besides a spring game. Even a spring game is different than an actual fall football game.
When you look at the game, it's going to be at 7 o'clock. All games are going to be at 7. We've got, one Thursday night game coming up this year?
We do.
So we've got
last game of the year.
The last game of the year. We've got to look out for that. The concession stands are going to be ready. Everything's going to be ready for Friday night. What is being offered by the different groups that sell things for the school? As far as shirts or hats or whatever.
Yeah, there's going to be a booth set up from our volleyball team. They're going to sell shirts. I know that was one thing that when I got here I wanted more of was Eufaula gear. I just don't think there's enough gear. Our kids don't have a bunch of Eufaula stuff. Our teachers don't have enough Eufaula stuff. And so we've started working on that, trying to get some gear out, because it's just a point of pride, to walk around town and see somebody with a Eufaula shirt. To me, that's a big deal. And but they'll be selling, the volleyball team will be selling shirts. Of course, as usual, the band will have their concession stand on the side near the practice field, and then the athletic booster club will have their concession as well. We have talked about some tailgating prior to the games. That people can get out early. I think that's always a really big deal for the kids. Obviously, we want our students here. Our students are vital in our success, especially at home. And then obviously the way that we travel too, but we need a great student section too. The atmosphere will be really good. It'll be, everything will be functioning. Every part of it. It's a regular game. We're ready to go. It's here. And so everybody is, again, selling stuff and is doing their part, and the atmosphere will be really good, I'm sure, and I'm so hopeful that we have a big crowd for our kids. I don't expect any rain. All that stuff hopefully is going to be good. The weather will cooperate. The field's in good condition, and we're ready to go. But again, we need the support. We need our students here early. There's nothing like, one of the coolest things for me when we would play in big games in my experience as a coach, getting out at, we usually come out about 6 and start working through some pregame stuff. If the fans are here at 6, it's so unique. It's so neat, especially the students. If they can get here early, that's a really big deal for us. And the biggest games in my past that we've ever played in, the stadium has been full at 6. And when that happens, it's unlike anything, that you come out and warm up in front of all that. It's just such a unique experience for the kids. I hope we can do that here.
When you talk about tailgating, what time could people get in to the parking lot? Let's say they're going to do it there.
We can't do it until school's out, obviously, and we got to make sure the parking lot's clear. And there are some restrictions on that, and that's not my ballpark. But I hope that people are here. I don't see anything wrong with coming and hanging out before the game. Obviously doing it the right way and making sure that we're following all the rules of the school. But that would really be unique to have that. Now, one thing that's been expressed is we hope that people that tailgate will still come in and buy our food. I really do, because that's supporting the kids, and hopefully we can still do that from the band or the athletic booster club. Either way, but I encourage people to be here as early as possible. I think the gates open at 5. I'd have to double check that too. Again, this is my first go with an actual fall game, but yeah, I hope people are here early and kind of spend some time on campus before.
When you look at this tailgating, got to remind people, this is an alcohol-free environment.
We're at a high school, yeah.
We're at a high school.
Right.
This isn't like a major college game.
Right.
But as far as that goes, it'd be great to see 1,000 people here.
It would be.
Right at 6 o'clock or more.
It would be. And I think the cheerleaders, we had at one point talked, and I'll have to check with our sponsors, that they were going to do something before the game too, maybe painting faces and some things there early. And I encourage that. It's a great thing. I know that I have young kids, and they would really like that, to see the girls and that kind of stuff. That would be really neat to get the girls out visible and to see everybody. But yeah, I mean that stuff will be. But yeah, I mean we need to handle ourselves appropriately, obviously on campus.
Are there going to be pep rallies this week?
Yeah, actually tomorrow night we have a Meet the Tigers event. Meet the Tigers is going to be just an introduction of all of our kids, all sports, male and female sports, in the stadium at 6:30. And it will be very short. I mean, all I'm going to do, I'm going to sort of run it. Ashley Washington, our cheerleading sponsor, and Meg Herring have kind of put together an itinerary for us. But some of the spring sports won't be there because they haven't picked teams yet. But all of our fall sports and all that, they'll be there, and our middle school will be here. And so, we're calling it Meet the Tigers. You can call it Meet the Admirals too, if you want, whatever you want to say it. But they're going to be here and go through that, because I think the kids need to be recognized. I mean, they put in a lot of work. And so we're going to do that. And then Friday, we'll have just a regular pep rally here.
Okay. What time will that be? Do you know yet?
It'll be, I think it's just in the afternoon. I'm not sure. Again, I haven't been a part of that either through the school schedule, but I'm sure it's a PM assembly schedule. So 2:30 or so is when we'll have it.
Okay. When you look at the Tigers, and you look at there's a lot more hype going on. Let's look back at the way that the school is reacting this year. Is there a lot more activity around the school, more excitement?
I mean, I feel like there is. I haven't been part of a fall here, so I'm not sure. I think in any school at any level, football season brings a level of excitement. I mean, in most schools, especially one with tradition like this one. But yeah, I mean, the energy's good. The kids have been really good. I'm out in the school a lot during the day from lunch, and I spend all my lunch out there and that kind of stuff. And I get to talk with the kids because I want them, if they're going to come and support us, I want to know who they are, and I've gotten to meet most of the kids here in the school. But yeah, I think the excitement level is really good. I'm hearing positive things, but as I always say, it's sort of a honeymoon effect, for me personally. Still, we've got to be productive on the football field. We know that. I mean, the kids know that. But yeah, the community's been unbelievable. I mean, even more than anywhere I've ever been, there's so much support from all levels here. It's really unique, and it's a big school. We're a relatively big school, but we're in a small town. And sort of a one-horse town, and so all the support is just falling in for our kids, and that's been really unique as well, from the administrators to any community members, from any of the clubs or groups I've spoken at over the past couple of months. It's been really good.
In the past, the team and the cheerleaders have went to the elementary school and the primary school. Are they going to continue with that tradition?
Especially like homecoming weeks and those kind of things. They're going to go out and meet the kids. And one cool thing we had yesterday, maybe actually Saturday, we had a cheerleading clinic. And so there were over 100 little girls here with our cheerleaders. So things like that, bring them in. And then one big thing that we're doing now is the Pee Wee program is going to come here. They took their pictures yesterday in the stadium. They're going to run out with our team Friday night, A, B, and C team for our Pee Wee Association. And then Saturday, the 29th, they're going to have a jamboree, a full day jamboree with 6 different teams. Well, let me say it like this, 6 different programs that have 3 teams each. So you're talking 18 total Pee Wee teams coming in here Saturday, all day long. And I'll be here watching, and I think that's a responsibility of coaches at a varsity level, head coach or assistant. You need to know your young kids. I mean, if you expect to build a program, you need to know them. And so I'm going to try and get to know them this week. And then the cheerleaders will have a deal at halftime Friday night where after the bands play, they're going to get out and perform what they worked on this past Saturday. And then the Pee Wee and the cheerleaders get in free as long as they're wearing a jersey or their cheerleading clinic shirt. They get in free. And so we're just encouraging, more people to be here and trying to unite our community in that sense as well.
When we look at the involvement and everything else, now you mentioned the Pee Wee, now the Jamboree. Is it going to be here at the school?
It will be. Mm-hmm.
All
Yep,
right.
Saturday. It will be, again, all day in Tiger Stadium. And that was something I wanted because I want those guys growing up as Tigers, and I want them, not all of their games will be here, but a lot of them will. I mean, two of their 6, I think, scheduled games are going to be here. Maybe more than that, but we're going to have 2 here. I'd have to check the second date. But that, to me, is such a big deal to get those kids involved. And to experience playing in the stadium, and then what that does in turn is they grow up wanting to play here and to want to be Eufaula Tigers, and it's special for them. And to me, that's really going to help our program in the long run.
Okay. Kyle?
I was just thinking, the last 20 minutes you've talked about different things other than X's and O's in football. This is kind of new for you, isn't it? Getting all this athletic director stuff taken care of.
I say this in joking. I said the last football I coached was before I became a head coach, and and there's a little bit of course I'm getting to spend time late at night, doing football stuff, and practice has been really really good. I'm spending my time with the offensive line, but yeah, that you can't understand it until you experience how much it is.
As offense coordinator at Opelika, you didn't have to worry about the Pee-wee cheerleaders.
Never.
Up, did you?
No, I didn't cut a blade of grass. I didn't. I didn't worry about that. I didn't worry about Booster Club signs. I didn't worry about the program. I didn't worry about pictures. So no, I mean, and I tell you this, learning from my mentors coming through this, and I've learned that it's my job now to take all of that off of my coaches. They should never have a parent conference. They should never, do anything other than coach ball as much as possible, if that makes sense. I need to take that off of them so that they can work through the X's and O's of this program. Again, I'm overseeing everything. Yesterday, I got to spend about 8 hours on football, which was great. I sat in here in my office with the coaches and I said, we're not doing anything other than football. Like, we're not going to go out there and cut grass. We're not going to worry about the field, anything. We're going to worry about football. And so that was good because that's the most football I've done since I've been here.
Wow.
And so that part was exciting because that gets me back. That's kind of my outlet is football. But yeah, there's so many responsibilities, and I'm not going to let that go, even during football season. If we've got an issue with a volleyball parent, I'm going to deal with that because that's part of my job. And as much as I'd like to be breaking down film instead of being in a parent meeting, that's what I got to do. That's my responsibility. And sometimes, that athletic director hat has to go in front of the football hat. And because, again, that's why I hired such good assistants, is because those guys at times are really the lifeblood of this program. Those guys are the ones that are really running the show as far as the scheme aspect and the football aspect. And I'm just here to make sure everybody has what they need, and that we're obviously taking care of our kids in all sports, and that they can just be free of all those outside things and just coach ball. But yeah, there's a lot to it.
Well, thank you very much, Coach, and look forward to a great game on Friday night, 7 o'clock.
Yep.
And we want a big crowd here.
Yes, we do. Be here early. Like I always say, the kids deserve it. They deserve people to come. But the work they've put in over these past 4 months, they deserve for people to come watch them.
Go Tigers.
Go Tigers.